I have no idea how I sleep with the beds are burning. This is 94.3 FM, The Talk of Sanity. Check Libertarian Lou, Tea Party Mike. The number here is 888-577-4487. 888-577-4487 if you want to blow off a little steam, start your weekend off right. I think I'm going to blow off a little steam today. Good morning, Michael.
Good morning, Lou. It's good to hear your voice. I saw there was someone that jumped the fence at the White House, and I thought you may have been on another muckraker mission yesterday.
Lou was on a muckraker mission yesterday. I don't know if you know this down in Texas, but he was involved in a bank robbery yesterday.
I showed up, Michael, at the wrong time. What can I tell you?
I had crime watchers from Wilkes-Barre City calling me saying, "Did you see Lou Jasikoff on TV down there robbing a bank somewhere?"
Just another story. He's always after the next story, Frank.
Well, they're always picking on me, Michael. You know how that goes.
Absolutely. Right place, right time. So it wasn't you at the White House. That's refreshing.
No, but we have been around, that's for sure. We have made our rounds this past week over at the Patriot Connectors. We were in Clark Summit last night at Second Friday. We got to go ahead to start placing our boxes in Clark Summit. No problem. They love our papers over there. So that's another town down that we could go ahead and, I guess, wake up a little bit, so to speak.
We could, just so we're clear, I mean, Wilkes-Barre City has allowed us to place boxes in their city as well.
That's right.
And we are there, and they are flying out of those boxes.
Are they good?
They are. I filled boxes. John had to go back and refill them. So within just days, they're empty.
Fantastic. Michael, I'll tell you, man, we're just going to stay on a couple subjects today. And, we've been pounding this from day one. And why do we continue to say nothing changes until we have a free and independent press and free and equal elections? And I want to kind of lay this whole thing out today because there's a couple things happening, and we did promise once again to give solutions to how we can change things. We're heading into the election season, and I want to talk about a few things about endorsements in the next segment. But certainly our system is broken. It really is, and it's so important that we start electing individuals that will stand up to the system. And I think that's really going to be the theme of today's program is until we elect individuals that are going to stand up to the system. One of the things, Michael, that we have talked about and we've certainly written about is the free and equal elections, and we've been doing a lot of stuff with the judicial reform. And when we look at the system, the way the system is set up, we have certain individuals, the good old boy system, whether it's Smucker, Senator Smucker, and we were told on the free and equal elections, hey, listen, you could get every state senator in Pennsylvania to sign on to this, but it's not going anywhere. And then when we look at Greenleaf of Elliott and Greenleaf, one of the most connected law firms in Pennsylvania, he's the senator who heads up the Judiciary Committee. So unless we have individuals that are going to speak out and talk out about these things, nothing's going to change. And that's why when we say nothing changes until we have a free and independent press and free and equal elections, that's the crux of this whole thing. I don't see anything changing until that happens. And we're there. We're getting there. We are. We're giving folks a voice. And certainly we're going to talk about how groups of people and individuals have now coalescing about what we've been writing about, and they come from all political, all political spheres, really. And what they're looking for is good, honest individuals that are out there that are going to fight corruption, stand up, and speak the truth.
Though it really is, and it's nice, or it would be nice to see more politicians that are really not political. I was looking at a little speech that Ted Cruz gave, and you don't have to like Ted Cruz, and you don't have to like his position, but he was being heckled. It was at some type of, I believe, Christian organization, and he was basically speaking about how Christians and Jewish folks have to stand together with Israel and so on and so forth, and they were heckling him. But at the end of it, he said, "My heart is saddened that folks in this room can't stand behind this mission. But those of you who cannot stand along with us, I cannot stand with you." And I found that to be inspiring in the sense that he wasn't there on a political mission. he believes in what he believes, and he's not going to pander or at least be political to try and get people on his side. That we see in Washington today, Lou, and we see in Harrisburg today. They're there for self-fulfilling moments. I believe we need more Ted Cruzes out there, whatever position you're holding, to be able to be firm on your beliefs, Lou. And this is what we need more in politics, is people who really, really stick by their principles.
It's funny that you mentioned Ted Cruz, because I actually have that written down on my notes. And one of the things that really gets to me is and we hear it all the time, Frank, and you can certainly jump in on this also, is that there's no difference between the Republican and Democratic parties. And in one sense, that's really true, because the system, in the system, there's no difference. But certainly there is a difference between the candidates, and that's one of the reasons why I'm going to be all across the board on the people that I'm going to come out and endorse, not from the newspaper, but there comes a time that we're in a war. I can't sit on the fence anymore. I can't pander and say, well, you know what, I don't want to come out and say it. Well, I'm going to come out and say it, and I'm not going to mince words about what I'm going to say here today. But certainly there is a difference, and I wrote down Reid and I wrote down Cruz. There's a huge difference between Harry Reid and Ted Cruz. And there are folks that are going to come out and speak out. One of the things that Ted Cruz actually came out and spoke about the other day was vote 10 times. I want you to vote 10 times. Well, that's what I'm going to tell folks in Wilkes-Barre. I want you to vote 10 times. And what he meant by that is, I want you to bring 10 people with me. You go out and you get 10 folks and you bring them, because if we want to make a change, it's us. It's us, the people. I'm going to tell you right now, once again, and we're going to keep going back to this, nothing changes until we have a free and independent press and free and equal elections. Those are hugely important. And that's what it's going to take. And later on today, Michael, in our show, we're going to lay out what's going to happen in Wilkes-Barre and how we're going to change it. But that's what we need to do, Frank. We need to make sure, we need to make a commitment. Because I have people calling. People have been calling, Mike, and once again, Democrats, Republicans, Libertarians, Communists, I mean, people are just fed up. And what they're saying is, what can we do to help? What can we do to change things? Well, what we can do to change things right now is get behind a few candidates, because we only got, 6 weeks left or whatever else it is. And we need to get folks in office and at least show them the support that we're behind you, not necessarily even about what you stand for, but that we know that you're going to stand up to the system, because until we fix the system, the rest of the stuff doesn't matter, because if you can't get bills passed because those who are in power are sitting there and they don't want nothing passed, nothing changes. Go ahead, Frank.
It's exactly right. And I had a different vision when you were saying vote 10 times.
I know.
I'm from Wilkes-Barre, where we vote early, vote often. And come on, even my dead grandmother votes in Wilkes-Barre, so,
But, seriously, that's what it's going to take to make changes. And we have to light the fire. We have to be the inspiration for individuals to say we can take our communities back. I don't know how I wound up in Wilkes-Barre. I don't know what vortex sucked me in, Michael, to Wilkes-Barre. I mean, a couple of years ago I was sitting out in Montana, no worries. I was on the school board. Things are good, raising the kids. The next thing I know, I'm in Wilkes-Barre and certainly supporting or trying to make change in a town in northeast Pennsylvania.
Well, Louis, I'm not quite sure if Wilkes-Barre got sucked into you, you got sucked into Wilkes-Barre. But that being said, we're put in places at certain times to make a difference, Lou. And this is, the apathy of the American people has really grown into this immense explosion. And we need, and I understand the apathy, because they figure, look, there's nothing I can do. But that's further from the truth. There's lots we can do. You get behind people like Betsy, you get behind people like Melanie, and say, this is the type of good, honest people that are running for office and need our help, and these people can make a difference, and they're going to, go against the establishment. At least that's my belief, and really stand up for what's right, Lou. And this is what we need to do as a citizenship, to be able to get behind people we really believe in, Lou.
And Michael, you're hitting it, and that's exactly right. But what we also need to do, and one of the roles that we play, whether it's on the radio or in the press or anything, we need to be that inspiration. We need to light the spark. We need to let people know that they have a voice. And I believe we've been able to do that, certainly in Wilkes-Barre and Northeast Pennsylvania. And Michael, I got to tell you, it's growing. I mean, we've been getting the calls. It's like this ball is starting to roll down the hill, and everything that we thought about years ago when maybe it was just a dream, it's not so much a dream anymore. Folks are liking what we offer. Now, whether it's the radio show, whether it's the Independent Gazette, but they're saying, boy, you know what? They feel like there's a reason, or maybe they can make a difference. And I think most people in general want to try to make a positive difference, not only in their own lives, but an influence in their community.
For sure, Lou. And this is really, whether it's out of frustration, but, I keep on looking at folks in the middle class who always had that hope to go up as high as they wanted to go, depending on how hard they wanted to work, Lou. And now it's at a point where it doesn't matter how hard you work, that the outcome is the same, and it's not your goals being met, it's not your dreams being met, the American dream. And as I begin to see that, I begin to hope that people really turn that negative into a positive and get involved, not just for themselves, but for their families of the future, Lou. And I do see that, and I think there are, outlets out there like the Independent Gazette, like Muckrakers, throughout the country that are starting to stand up against, the establishment and saying this is enough, and we need to get involved and get others involved along with it. And I think we're seeing that little by little.
And when you talk about Muckrakers, I want to encourage folks out there to check out the new Independent Gazette. We explain the history of muckraking, why we're doing what we're doing, Michael, and how we can make a real difference. And as we segue into our next segment, I often hear when we bring up this free and equal election stuff. And, there's no ambiguity in my mind. And if you've been in the military, whether it's World War II or the Korean War or Vietnam War or Desert Storm, you take an oath. You take an oath to uphold the Constitution of the United States. And where's the ambiguity in free and equal elections? And I'm tired of hearing these phony politicians that stand out there and say, oh, when the people stand up. You know what? They've been standing up because they've been silent. The people, why do we have such low turnout? Why do we have? Because the system is broken. We don't have free and equal elections. We don't have choices. That's why it is. Stop listening to the garbage that come out of these politicians' mouths saying, well, when people stand up or when we hear enough about it. You don't hear enough about it because people have given up. They've thrown their hands up in the air, and that's once again where we're going here. We're here to give that inspiration. We're here to give the spark, and we're not going to take the 2-card Monty, the 3-step, whatever we always say here. You know what I'm saying, Michael? We're tired of the political speak. We're going to have to call it the way it is.
You're right, Lou. And both of us have been really on that side of being shunned. I was in the Wilkes-Barre area and running as a Republican, and because I didn't stand up for the establishment, I was shunned. So they say when we hear enough from the people, well, you're not going to hear from the people because everybody's making sure within the establishment, both right and left, that those voices are not heard. And that's why we need more outlets like independent presses to be able to make sure that the people's voices are heard, Lou. And until that happens, until people get involved, we can't really expect a whole lot of change, Lou.
And it is happening. It's happening here. And once again, we can't change those things that are happening on the border. And I know all those things are important to folks out there. And we can't change the things in in Washington. But we can change things in our backyard. And certainly as we move into this, or into this election season, it's really, really important to get involved. Michael, when we come back, I'm gonna lay a couple things out here. I'm going to be endorsing a Democrat. I'm going to be endorsing a Libertarian. I'm going to be endorsing a Republican. I'm thinking about maybe an independent, and I'm also thinking about endorsing a fraud, a phony. And so when we come back, stay tuned. You're listening to Sanity Check 94.3 FM, The Talker.
Then you're looking for Sanity Check Saturday mornings on 94.3 FM, The Talker.
Just a good old boy, never meaning no harm.
Never meaning no harm.
Oh, remember to vote.
Beats all you never saw. Been in trouble with the law since the day they was born.
No worries.
No
No worries when you're part of the good old boy system. You don't have to worry about the law. You don't have to worry about anything. They're going to smile for you.
Just look around, though.
Just look around. You're listening to 94.3 FM The Talk, and we're back. Libertarian Lou, Tea Party Mike. Michael, I'm not going to stay on the fence. I'm going to. I have to lay a few things out. Go ahead. You want to jump in first?
No. I'm curious to hear this because I think it is time that people really speak and feel that they can speak freely, Lou.
And once again, I'm speaking for myself. We'll have our editorial board, and we'll decide what the paper, who they're going to endorse and everything else. But we're once again we're in a war, and it's time for at least myself to say, you know what, I don't want to be part of the political speak either. I know who I'm endorsing, and I know why I'm endorsing who I'm endorsing, and the main reason, more than anything else, and I think it really came to me on Friday when I had a woman call me early in the morning about the custody for cash stuff. 7 o'clock in the morning, the phones start ringing really early sometimes, Michael, for me, and people just want to get stuff off their chest and they want to talk about what's going on. And she said, listen, Lou, what can I do? What can I do? I'm off till December. I don't start working till December. And we kind of laid it out. And at that time, too, I said, you know what, it's time to talk about what we can do and how we can make some changes. And certainly in the next segment, we are going to lay that out. And I think it's going to be enjoyable to talk about. But in the meantime, there's a Democrat, a Libertarian, and a Republican. And the reason I'm behind these folks is that the system is broken. The system is broken. It's the good old boy system. It's the Elliott and Greenleaf, Senator Greenleaf. It's Senator Smucker. It's not individuals. It's not that, individuals in the Republican Party or Democratic Party or Libertarian Party don't have good people there. When we look at Senator Fulmer down there, a Republican man, he's been a champion. He's been a champion, to stand up and introduce bills and try to make changes. But then we have the other ones. We have the other phonies, the folks that sit on the fence, that are not really out there to really represent the people, but they're representing the party. So for the Democrat, I'm looking at Ostrowski, okay, he's running against Lou Barletta. I want somebody standing up against the system. For the Libertarian, it's going to be Betsy Summers. She's going to be standing up for the system. She's running against Pushinsky. And then, of course, Melanie Madeira. These three folks right there, these are fresh faces, Michael. They're fresh faces, and I know each and every one of them. Forget about what they stand for. I know it's important, folks. But the system is broken, and no matter what you stand for, it never happens. If you can't get bills passed that make a difference, what difference does it make then? We need folks in there that are ethical, that are moral, and are going to stand up and at least speak out against the system. Now, as far as the independent, I'm still on the fence with that. We have an independent here running locally in Congress. And then we come to the phony, the fraud. Why am I going to vote for a phony and a fraud? Let's talk about Senator Baker. That district right there has been gerrymandered by the good old boy system, Michael, to make sure that it's a solid Republican district. We both know the good old boy system, the system is broken, that system, regardless of whether it's a Republican or Democrat, if they're in power, if they have the governorship at the beginning of each decade, they make sure that they gerrymander those districts to ensure that they're in good shape. Senator Baker. Remember, and the reason I picked, remember the quote, Michael, we were at the Lincoln Day dinner there, the Republican Lincoln Day dinner, and she came up to me, Lou, I know you're passionate. I know I'm passionate about the issue. I'm not passionate, Miss Baker, about getting a libertarian on the ballot. I'm passionate about following the Constitution. Michael, we have said, and we've said it over and over again, if anything is going to save this country from going completely falling all apart, is two things. One is we have a Constitution. Many countries don't have a constitution to follow, and we are awash. We've been blessed. We've been blessed with resources in this country that many other countries have not been blessed with. Those are the two things that are going to pull us out. But so if you're not going to follow the Constitution, Michael, is there any ambiguity about free and equal elections? Is there anything unclear about that? Is there anybody out there that don't understand free and equal elections? So let's get back to Ms. Baker, okay? She's in a gerrymandered district. Gerrymandered district that is ensure that she's going to win. Then she's in such a gerrymandered district, the Democrats don't even run anybody against her. All good for Ms. Baker. So then the Green Party steps up and they go out and they collect 800 signatures to get on the ballot. Maybe a little choice. Maybe Ms. Baker will have to maybe talk about some of her positions. Maybe she could talk about how she has co-sponsored the Free and Equal Election Act to make sure that elections are free and equal, knowing full well that her good old boy Smucker will never allow the free and equal election out of committee. So now the Green Party is on the ballot until Ms. Baker now challenges the signatures to get them off the ballot. That's great. It's unbelievable. So they win the challenge. The Green Party originally wins the challenge, and now they appeal the challenge. And somehow they've come up with whatever happened, and Carl Romanelli and a few other folks could give us all the details. But at the end of the day, they go to court again on Monday, and they have to come up, the Green Party now, the Green Party with all the resources, the Green Party that have all the political connected judges and everything else, given the law firms all these special, your tax money for legal fees and everything else. The Green Party that gets all those benefits, right? Yeah. Now they have to come up with the challenge money to try to do this. And if they don't on Monday, they're off the ballot. So Miss Baker, who is for free and equal elections, will be running unopposed all by herself. And I got to tell you that if she does, I am going to have to write in phony or fake or fraud. That's going to be my vote. So that's why I said I need to vote for a fraud or a phony. I got to tell you, Michael, it really is unbelievable. And if that happens, I'm going to have to write an article in the Gazette and please asking Miss Baker, please do not use the Bible to swear in, please do not do that. Don't tell me you're there to defend the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania for free and equal elections when you pulled this nonsense. Maybe you could put your hand on the Republican handbook or something else like that, but please do not use the Bible. So there I go, Michael. That's where I'm at with this.
Well, Lou, and I certainly understand your frustration. That was laid out very well because you get tired of these, and whether it's Senator Baker or someone else that is doing it, but they're talking out of both sides of their mouth. They're like chameleons, Lou. And depending where they're at is what they're going to tell you. And there are things that Ms. Baker, even if you're conservative Republican pro-lifers out there, guys, maybe somebody better start asking her real position because she's never challenged. Because I believe that there are things out there that people don't know about.
Well, you have nobody running against you. You don't need to do anything, right? I mean, there you go. I mean, there is the good old boy system. Let's take a call from Ben. Good morning, Ben.
Good morning, guys. Thanks for taking my call. I really don't have a comment this week. I actually have two questions that maybe you guys can help me out with. I was told or heard this week that the bill to repeal the tax structure for school taxes and to reform it is being held up in the committee by Senator Blake from the Lackawanna County. And Senator Blake is a minority member of that bill that committee, and I'm just wondering if you can explain to me how a minority member of a committee can hold a bill to keep it from coming to the floor for a vote.
You got me on that one.
Yeah, it's stuck in the Finance Committee, and they're not letting it out. So that's where that is. And as a minority member, he does have influence in that committee to get the bill out.
And Frank, you're probably more on top of this than anybody. I mean, or certainly in within our groups here is what's happening with it, and we'll have Betsy Summers on here in a little bit also. But she's supporting SB 76. But go ahead.
The Senate bill, which has a companion bill, HB 76 in the House, the HB 76 bill is just about dead. But the SB 76 bill currently has 25 co-sponsors and will pass if it goes to the floor. That's the problem. They do not want this bill to go to the...
Oh, there we go, the good old boy system.
Exactly. We sit on it in committee. We're not going to let it out from, and that's where we're at.
And you're saying the Finance Committee, Frank, who's
the Senate Finance Committee.
And who's in charge of that one?
I'm not...
Okay,
the name is escaping me right at the moment.
So Ben, that's the best we could give you on that one. You said you had 2 questions?
Yeah, the other one was, I don't know if you folks with your paper, by the way, thanks so much for the Independent Gazette. I'm following it online on a regular basis, and I really enjoy reading it.
Thank you.
I don't know if you guys followed it this week, but there was a trial in Luzerne County with 2 women who were accused, I believe it was in 2010, the charges were filed, for embezzling over $700,000 from a local volunteer fire company in Swearville. They were found not guilty of taking any of the money. They were found guilty of improper bookkeeping. And now that fire company, from what I understand, has completely been dissolved. And my question is, what happens to all these funds? And by the way, if not them, who? Somebody got over $700,000. And I'm assuming some of the money still had to be left. But who gets this money from these places when they dissolve these nonprofit organizations?
Well, the nonprofit, if it has any money left, can donate it to another nonprofit or charitable organization. That's what they usually do with it. So the Swayersville Fire Department, when it dissolved, its assets or funds would be absorbed by whoever is responsible now for fighting fires in that neighborhood. So let's say they merge with Kingston, that's where the funds would normally go.
I never realized, I guess maybe I'm a little naive on this, I never realized that these little fire departments can amass that kind of a fortune playing bingo. If that's the case, why doesn't the city of Scranton get the Watchers Armory and open up a big bingo game?
We're down with it.
I love it.
We probably need a new law. Maybe Miss Baker could introduce a new law. That's what we need.
It's not just bingo. They have donations. People do give money and property and things like that to fire departments all the time. But it's not just playing bingo. They hold other fundraising events, and they also do receive tax monies as well, as far as tax credits and things like that they can sell and leverage. So it's not just bingo that raises $700,000. Just so we're clear on that one.
Ben, thanks for.
I understand. I'm being a little bit facetious, but I mean it's not
no.
The case. There's another fire department, I believe, in Music that had over $400,000 stolen from them by a guy who runs an ice cream shop.
Us being facetious? Ben,
Never.
Thanks for calling in. We need to take a break and listen to the Sanity Check. 94.3 FM The Talker. We'll be back in a few.
And
It's like an MBA class.
I'm Marty Wolf, and the Business Builders Show gives entrepreneurs, business owners, and professionals who seek excellence advice from the nation's top business thinkers and
As they
leaders.
expose, inform, and enlighten through the new standard in talk radio. Saturday mornings, 94.3 FM, The Talker.
That's what they're saying.
Don't listen to those guys.
That's what Lisa Baker's saying.
She's praying they don't listen.
Don't listen. They're praying. Right. They're on the Bible. They're hoping that, please don't listen to those guys. They don't listen to a word they say. We're back. 94.3 FM The Talker. This is Sanity Check. Libertarian Lou, Tea Party Mike. And Michael, we're going to, as we move into this here a little bit, certainly, and we welcome X. Good morning, X. How you doing?
Hey, guys. How you doing?
We're doing well. We're doing well here. Maybe too much coffee, but I don't know if that's the real reason here. But once again, Michael, we talk about what can we do? How do we change things? And certainly, I related a young lady calling this Friday, but I get calls all the time, and certainly. Folks are saying, what can we do? How can we do things? How do we change things? Well, once again, how we change things is start now electing people. We're down into the last 6 weeks. Do I want to go out and knock on doors and do different things this weekend and next weekend? No, quite honestly, I'd rather be hanging out watching the Eagles having barbecue.
They're
But
not playing
that
till
was
Monday,
a softball for you, so we're good to go. Let's before I launch into something completely new, let's take Gary. Good morning, Gary.
Lou, good morning, guys. Thanks for taking my call. Yeah, we're talking about this subject once again of the free elections, school property taxes. Why would we fix a problem that we run on? We won't have nothing to run on next time.
There you go.
I mean, and Lou, you made a statement before. You think people want change. People want change, but they don't want anything to do about it. They don't want to do anything about it. They want the government to pass another law to take care of what they want done. And none of our laws are enforced. We just keep passing laws. I own property in 2 different school districts. I pay school taxes in 2 different school districts. Why? I mean, here's a subject that these people run on, Republicans have run on for the last 20, 30 years.
Right.
Why fix it if we can run on it next election? And you mentioned Senator Fulmer, I believe.
Yes.
That he backs the free elections. Does he have the conviction to come on your show?
Oh, he
do
has.
An interview and say it?
He has,
Does
Gary.
he write editorials and papers about it?
Actually, he does.
Does he go around the state and push it? I'm not talking about one show, Lou, or one editorial. If somebody has convictions, you and your guys on your show have convictions. You go out of your way to tell people your convictions. These politicians do not do it. You would be a great guy to run for office because you have convictions and you back them and you stand for them. These people do not do that.
Well, certainly.
And that's the problem in this area, in this state, and in this country. And before I go, one other thing. We're very close to electing a new governor that his only pledge is, I'm going to tax and I'm going to spend. If spending was the problem on education, this country would have the smartest children in the world, which we don't. The more we spend, the lower our numbers go down. And people better wake up. It is not a spending problem. There is something wrong with the education system in this state and in this country, and it has nothing to do with money. Thank you for your time.
Thanks for calling, Gary. Once again, Gary always just puts it right out there. Go ahead, Frank.
He's absolutely right. And I can see just by attending my local school board meeting, I know what's wrong with our schools. We're not hiring the best qualified teachers. We're hiring the best qualified relative.
Right.
And that's happening throughout school districts. It's not just Wilkes-Barre area. It's happening in school districts across the country. We get people elected to the school board so they can hire their cousins, nephews, brothers, sisters, and who cares who's teaching the kids? As long as they can bribe someone out of a certificate to teach, that's all we need.
So here we go. Right. We have the school board. We know that we've laid it out that we have a system that is broken.
Right.
It's not changing until we have politicians or people that are elected that are willing to stand up to the and once again I keep going back to this.
We do have politicians that are willing to stand up. I mean, Wilkes-Barre area just passed a no nepotism policy at their last school board meeting, and at that same meeting, seconds after passing the no nepotism policy, they vote to hire board member Thomas's.
But you cut me to the quick, Frank. You didn't let me finish my subject. I know we need to elect politicians to stand up, but we need politicians that are willing to fight the system, to be able to stand up to their party, to say this is not right. How many of those folks on the school board actually said, and I think there was a few that said, wait a minute, guys, this is wrong. That's what we need, and we need more of that. And it starts this week, next week, the following week. We need to elect those individuals that are going to stand up and fight that system. I'm going to have Betsy Summers is in studio here today with us, but I want to lay out what even a little bit about what Gary had to say is the apathy. How do we change it? Michael, we're all about changes, and X, same with you here. I want to get you on, but one of the things that has come up is we all know the cronies will come out and vote. Why? because it's in their financial interest for the cronies to come out and vote. So how does it change? We can't change everywhere, okay? But we're right here now. And we have 6 weeks to change it. And I'm going to be calling my friends and my family and all these people that are out there that are on Facebook and are complaining about corruption, complaining about the court system, complaining about all the injustices that are going on, and saying, you have an opportunity now. So the first thing we need to do in Wilkes-Barre, and we said we're going to lay out a plan for Wilkes-Barre, okay? The first thing we're going to do, and that's starting in this Friday, is we're going to have a voter registration drive. We need to get folks involved to say, wait a minute. And I know the political wisdom sometimes say, okay, we're going to get more people registered to vote, and they're going to vote one way. I'm going to tell you the way they're going to vote, Frank. They're going to vote what's in their heart when we go in door to door. So, Michael, we just got a big sign. We just got a big sign, Justice Now, Register for Freedom. And we're going to start walking the streets, kind of like Al Sharpton does, except it's going to be Lou Jasikoff and Frank Sorek and Betsy Summers and Andy Ostrowski and maybe Melanie that's out of district down there. But we're going to be walking those streets with the big sign, Register Now, and we're going to go up and down the streets. And maybe the media will follow. Maybe we need 20, maybe we need 30 folks. We got the Bruce Levines, we got the people, Tara Kovals. I mean, there are so many people out there that want to get involved and try to make a difference. And that's going to be the first. That's going to be the first part of this whole thing. We're gonna start registering folks in Wilkes-Barre. We're going to make that drive happen, and we're gonna wake folks up. Because I know they want change. I mean, John DiLiberto's been out there. He's been out. We've been taking the pictures. We know there's individuals. I don't know how many people. Frank, you get it too.
I do.
So if this is the time. This is not the time to go have the burger and the beer and the barbecue. You got 3 weeks. We got 3 weeks to get involved. We got 3 weeks to get people to say justice now. We'll be setting the tents up, Betsy, on Friday. We're going to start that. I know we got a rally coming up in Kirby Center, I believe.
Yes,
go ahead, Betsy.
So,
yep.
If you want a barbecue, we on the 27th are going to be in Kirby Park, and we don't have our pavilion position yet.
But you got a pavilion?
We got it. We're going to have a pavilion.
Good.
And we're going to be cooking hot dogs and
getting people together,
and then going out and hitting the streets with your big banner,
with the banners and the bullhorns, and we want to walk up and down the streets of Wilkes-Barre. We have to do something, Frank, to raise the awareness with the media also. And Betsy, just like we did years ago, and Michael, remember when we occupied the square? We'll occupy justice for all those individuals that have contacted us from around the country, but certainly here in Luzerne and Lackawanna County, folks that have felt that they've been abused by the court system. And talking about the court system, Michael, we will be in court on Tuesday, the 16th, 9:30. Anybody wants to show up. You don't need a muckraker shirt, but I will be with my muckraker shirt, and we're going to be there. We've had some individuals that have asked for help, and that's going to be the start. We're going to be at the Scranton Family Court. And certainly you could get a hold of myself or Bruce Levine or a few other folks that are involved with this stuff and sign on.
Are you going to be allowed to wear your muckraker shirt?
I'm wearing it.
Just going to ask that.
Oh, no, I'm wearing it. This is my company shirt. And I'll be darned. This is where I'll draw the line in the sand, Michael. I mean, we will not be thrown out for wearing a shirt. That's for darn sure. I mean, if ABC Plumbing shows up, are they going to throw them out for this? This is our court wear. This is our company. This is our company logo. We're proud to be muckrakers. I think we've come a long way, and certainly once again, I'll encourage folks to pick up our latest edition because it explains the history of muckraking and how muckrakers have been able to make a real difference in our history.
So it's not all just lies and gossip and muckraking.
No. The muckraker is all about, and certainly it's about investigative journalism and doing the things that mainstream media has not done. So, X, you want to jump in? I kind of cutting you short here a little bit.
Well, I was just thinking over the past week here, the president, coming out with this whole ISIS, story and stuff like that. But, it's kind of interesting. This is, again, highlighting the difference between, the candidate and the person that's in office. And, I'm just going to read you a quote. This is from Obama's own words, but this was when he was a candidate. The president does not have the power under the Constitution to unilaterally authorize a military attack in a situation that does not involve stopping an actual or imminent threat to the nation. Now, let me ask yourself, the guy that was on TV a couple of days ago, is he going to go to Congress and get permission? And if Congress refuses to do something, is he going to act unilaterally? You could bet your ass he's going to. So this is kind of the problem of what we have. There's so many people voted for Obama. You know, the guy that's a constitutional scholar, the person that was going to, then you find out the ACLU has determined that Obama has been worse on protecting American civil liberties than Bush was, and Bush was horrible. So this is what we always have to be on guard for.
In fact, X, and we need to take a break, but certainly your article exactly on that subject does appear in the Independent Gazette. And if you want to hear what Mr. X has to say, you can pick up a Gazette on the square in Wilkes-Barre and check us out. And certainly we encourage folks to also subscribe. We're going to take a quick break and we'll be back. You're listening to 94.3 FM, The Talker.
Sanity checks Saturday mornings on 94.3 FM, The Talker.
As we roll down this unfamiliar road, and although this wave is stringing us along, just know you're not alone, 'cause I'm gonna make this place your home.
Hey, Wilkes-Barre, is this your home? Is this your home out there? You're going to make a difference? You're going to make a change? Are you going to sit around? Are you going to get out there and make it happen this time? Are you going to wake people up? Are you going to walk down those streets, or are you going to go be sitting in the backyard having a barbecue, getting fat, and then go on your computer later on and write a Facebook page on how things stink? Or are you going to make a difference? Are you going to join in? You're going to make a difference. You're going to get out there and get behind. How about justice now? How about that? How about we do something? Michael, you remember? I just popped in. Remember that show? What was it? Crocodile Dundee, and he goes to the gang and he said, "What did you do yesterday?" And they said, "Nothing." He said, "How about you do something? How about we do something?" And so when people ask you what you did this weekend, you can say, "I did something." How about that? How about that, Wilkes-Barre? I'm calling you out. I'm calling out the crime watchers. I'm calling out the Taxpayer Association. I'm talking about those folks that have been involved with the justice system. Now's the time. We got 3 weeks. 3 weeks. We have what, Betsy, till October 6th?
October 6th is the last day to register.
Let's register. Let's walk down these streets. Let's get people registered to vote. That's the start. And then the second part of the equation is getting people out to vote. We'll have the vans. Let's shake it up. Let's show them. Let's make Wilkes-Barre the Lexington. Let's make Wilkes-Barre the Lexington, the show we started a spark. We're going to show folks what we can do. And that's our role. That's our role here, Frank. So listen, Michael, as time moves by here, and I'd like to get everybody in, what's your thoughts on this? How can we get people involved? How can we say, listen, what are we going to do? We're going to sit around, we're not going to do anything, or we're going to sit around and get a little more fat this weekend, or we're going to, not this weekend, I'm sorry, we're going to start next weekend, but certainly they could get involved with those candidates. And if it's not your candidate, Betsy's not your candidate, how about Melanie? And if Melanie's not your candidate, how about Andy? Get involved with folks that could actually make a change, that are going to stand up to the system to talk about it and say, wait a minute, because the system is broke. That's how we're going to make a difference. Trying to fix things within the system is great, but you know what? You also need people to be standing out there. Betsy, you trying to jump in?
Yes. Gary brought up a good point that these people, why should they fix it, our current representatives, because what will they run on the next time? Well, what we need to do is elect people who really don't want to be in Harrisburg, who don't want a career in politics. I would love to go to Harrisburg, fix it, and get the heck out of there.
Yeah, you don't want to spend...
I
you have other things to do.
My job selling pharmaceuticals to veterinarians. I love my job. I love the people I deal with. Do you think I want to go sit in listen to these people, blah, 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 and ruin our state and not follow the Constitution? No, I want to go there and fix it and get out. So let's look at those people who want to do this as a civic duty, what it was meant to be in the first place, and let's elect these people, not career politicians who want to walk out of there with a pension.
How about some thoughts, Michael?
Well, I do. I have a question for Betsy, and the question is, when you're in session, you're in that big room with all these people, are you going to have a muckraker T-shirt on?
I will not have a muckraker T-shirt on because I will have a dress with nice little muckraker symbols all over and I will have a muckraker suit jacket, and I will have a muckraker briefcase.
Cell phone cover.
Yeah, cell phone cover, because I do want to look appropriate. And so I will have fancy muckraker stuff.
Talking about that, Frank, what did you write? What you have to listen to that. He wrote his Wake Up Wilkes-Barre, and certainly we encourage folks to do that. But you brought that subject up, Frank, didn't you?
I did.
Right on Wilkes-Barre. What did you say?
Yeah, under the cartoon of Judge Margie.
Judge Margie, that's right. We'll be in Judge. Oops, I don't even want to say where we're going to be, but we'll be in the courtrooms on Tuesday at 9:30. Spruce and Adams.
Right. I put, if you're sporting your muckraker T-shirt, not only will you be considered a known troublemaker, a.k.a. a muckraker, but you're likely to be ejected for allegedly recording proceedings, even though no one has ever produced a copy of said recording. Now it's rumored that Lackawanna County is considering implementing a dress code in an effort to ban muckraker T-shirts from court. But my guess is that Lou and Company will find a way to print muckraker hats, ties, jackets, pins, briefcases, or even cell phone covers.
You got that right, Michael. How do you
and
like
I'm
that?
going to be the first customer.
Well, this is a whole new clothing line. Like, we're going to put Ralph Lauren out of business.
X, bring a little sanity back to this. Do we lose X? Where is that?
They cut him off.
Hey, I'm back. You guys are right on target with this. But the thing is, we're always dealing with people that are always, and I hate this quote, voting for their self-interest. What's your self-interest? Is it the long run, the short run? Everything with most people. I remember when we had our election before, Lou. Remember all these people that turned out, that like the union turned out all of the people in New Jersey to vote for the candidate?
Right.
This is the kind of stuff you're dealing with all the time. It's this organized group of people that are out there to give themselves special privileges above other people.
Well, and
over and over again.
And this is why we're saying, and we're maybe trying to do something completely different here a little bit, is we know the cronies will come out. In Wilkes-Barre, they could count on, 2,000-3,000 votes?
Oh, easily.
Right.
There are two types of voters in Wilkes-Barre, and I've said this before, and I'll say it again. Two types of voters: those that vote for corruption and those that vote against corruption. And neither side is ever going to get at either one's vote totals.
And to that, and to that what you're talking about here, talking with Melanie last night, we were at together and that's Melanie Madeira. We were at Clark Summit together, and she's knocked on about 10,000 doors, she said, so far, and she's hearing the same thing, Frank. That people in general, it's not necessarily about, it's not party anymore. It's about, people know inherently there's something wrong. The corruption, the nepotism, just the whole moral fabric seems like it's falling apart. And they're looking at individuals, and I think that's where the difference is going to come in. We get people, Betsy, to register to vote, and then we get them out to vote. And then once folks start saying, wait a minute, we can make a real difference on a smaller level, then maybe we could start thinking about the bigger level.
We don't need a lot to affect change.
That's exactly right.
We are only talking about a few hundred votes to sway an election. When you look at in Betsy's case, you look at Eddie Day Pashinsky in his previous races. Some of those were narrow victories. He was the victor, but they were narrow. When he ran against Christine Katzok, he did not win by a whole lot. So when you look at these, Betsy doesn't need to do a whole lot of work. We need to register a few hundred people in Wilkes-Barre, and right away that's going to sway that election.
And that's the point. And that's why we're laying the sand down in the Wilkes-Barre, because we can. we have a little traction there. We've certainly been working with the different groups, Frank, and we're going to encourage them to start. They need to do it now.
For the homeowners that are left, and I'm talking to both of you in Wilkes-Barre, you need to wake up and realize that your taxes are out of control, and if you want it to end, you need to vote for Betsy. It's that simple.
That's one of the things right there. Betsy's choking on over there, but. So anyway, so Michael, that's the game plan. We're going to walk down the streets of Wilkes-Barre, and we're going to get out there, and we're going to.
So with a lot of work, I can win by a landslide.
Right.
And boy, would that send a message in Harrisburg.
What a message would that send?
Well, then they would know they're going to have to listen to the taxpayers, to the people they're supposed to be representing, and not listening to the Democratic Party and the Republican Party who's telling them how they have to vote or else they won't get reelected again. Well, the taxpayers are going to have to say, you aren't going to get reelected again until you start representing us.
What I've heard out of the taxpayer groups on a statewide level is all eyes are on Betsy's race right now.
Really?
They really are, because what this message is going to say, it's going to ripple across the state of Pennsylvania. If Betsy unseats an entrenched Democrat in a highly Democratic area as a third-party candidate, what message that sends statewide is, if you do not do what the taxpayers are telling you they want you to do, you're going to be Pyshinski'd in the next race. Yep. That's as simple as that.
Pyshinski's. You
will be Pyshinski'd. Done.
Wow. Michael, that's fantastic. I mean, we're running out of time. We're coming down here. So all we could say is certainly we're going to be on this. We're going to stay on this topic. It's so important that we have a couple weeks, and you got a couple candidates that I'm behind, and I'm not going to be shy about endorsing these folks anymore. And I'm going to be out there and saying, whoever I talk to, if you want real change, if you want somebody to stand up against the system, once again, the system is broken. You need to start electing folks, not by the letter that's behind their name, but folks that are actually going to stand up and fight the system. Michael, we're done. You got it, my friend.
God bless all.
Have a great weekend, folks. We'll be back next week.